Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Lords of the Night. With me, as always, is the Lord of Pain, Ranting Monkey.
Hello.
And the Lord of Pennies is absent at present. We're not quite sure why, so at least for the moment, it's going to be a Scribe and Money show. Hopefully, we'll hear from our erstwhile co-host sooner rather than later. But for now, I am your host, Scribelight, the Lord of Punishment. Hello, everyone. Hello, chat. Hope you're all having a good Tuesday. Hope you had a good week so far and a good week ahead of you into the new year. First full week of the new year.
Mm-hmm.
And boy, oh boy, today is an exciting day, Monkey.
It should be.
Yeah. Because the cop in the Jacob Blake shooting didn't get charged with anything.
I was thinking more about the election results should be coming in.
Oh, that. Yeah, I guess. And there's also Satsu.
Yo.
Hey.
What up, though?
Lord of Pennies, what up?
Sorry about that. My wife, her wisdom teeth are fucking with her again, and I had to take care of Aaliyah. She's been bad. Like, it's really bad for her right now.
Wow.
So I ain't even talked to her in like the past 8 hours because she's been isolated. So
Ooh.
Yeah, sorry about that, guys.
No, it's fine. Is she gonna get them yanked at some point?
We were talking about it the last time she was having this issue or whatever, but when we were looking at like what we needed to do to get that done, it was just like crazy expensive.
Yeah.
And she was transitioning through her medical at the time, so I don't know. We'll see what's going on with her. But like I said, the best thing to do when she's like this is leave her the fuck alone. So
Yeah, no, I get it.
I've been doing that.
Thank you, tall person. Happy National Whipped Cream Day. But what better way to say I love you than with a bottle of whipped cream?
Yeah.
Indeed.
Okay. Thanks for going with me now. So how are you guys doing today? Monkey, how are you doing?
Oh, you know, I'm hanging out.
Yeah. What's how was your morning?
Yeah, I went to the ER this morning because I wasn't feeling quite myself to the point where it was like, ooh, I should probably go see something about this. Turns out my blood pressure was just what's the word I'm looking for here? Ridiculously high.
Mm-hmm.
They got it down, and I came home and went to sleep, and I woke up. I'm feeling better, just a little lightheaded. But thank you to everybody who sent well wishes and was worried. No reason to worry. I'm okay. But yeah, that was my day.
I'm glad that you're all right. And Satsu, I think we've heard partially how your day is. Anything else going on?
Not really. I mean, I spent almost all day with Aaliyah, just hanging out and stuff, and she learned a new word today, which is funny.
Yeah,
because she's been watching a lot of this kids show called Bubble Guppies or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, Bubble Guppies. I know that show.
And she just runs around like guppies.
Like, the video post is adorable.
Yeah, I'm like, oh my god, it's so cute. And I had asked her because I didn't think she was gonna say it, but she was in there with her mom. Because I just let her in there to see her because she hadn't seen her in a while. And I'm like, what's your favorite show, Lily? And she's like, Guppies. I'm like, yeah. Yeah.
I was just talking to Monkey before the show, and I've got an idea for the next show theme, but it would make life easier. I had one idea for what I was going to do, but now Monkey's giving me a different idea. It'd be easier if I had a Aaliyah avatar of a kind. So if there's anybody in chat who can conjure up something along the style of the Satsu avatar or something like that, something that's sort of like front on, cute. I don't know. We'll see what you guys come up with if you have anything at all. I have a backup plan if I don't have a Squeedus avatar to work with.
Well, I've been actually been meaning to. I've hit up Viper a few times because she's the one who made my Fam 2 Cents one.
Yeah.
And she drew the baby Aaliyah, so I was thinking about having her draw a slightly older version of that one and see if she can do something with it. Because I really like the way she did Squishy. Because that's the one you use is the one Viper made. So
yes, I that's the only one I had, so I isolated that. But I mean, like I say, if nothing comes up by Friday or whatever, well, Thursday because I have to prep it before then. I have a backup idea for what I plan to do, but just for that and or just for future reference. I mean, if I because having a little library of caricatures of all of us in the family is always useful to have. But anyway, just a blind request out there. As for myself, busy day, lots of work stuff, lots of more work stuff coming. Depending on how things hash out, it might begin to interfere with my YouTubing. I don't know how much or to what extent. It's all very tentative at present, but as things develop, I will let everybody know. But with that ominous note, Monkey Dick, Jim Jones, movies, video games, hit that like button if you have not already, and I can see that many of you haven't, because, you're always sort of waiting to see if it's worth your time, I suppose. And please share our stuff, share it far, wide, sideways, and diagonally. You guys are our best algorithm, because YouTube certainly isn't. With that all being said, anything else to mention before we get into the schnuzz?
Nope.
Not that I can think of.
Okay, well, let's get into the big news of the day. And no, that's not a fake out. It is the Georgia elections. The polls have closed in Georgia, and the count is taking place. CNN, of course, has a running mini blog going on of all the goings-on. And here's the first little bit. Gwinnett County expects vote counting to continue until Thursday.
Wow.
Gwinnett County spokesperson Joe Sorensen said they probably will continue counting ballots through Thursday. The, quote, adjudication teams, unquote, are scheduled to arrive that day to deal with challenged ballots. Officials don't expect many to need adjudication. It will hold up the process. What, maybe you mean officials don't expect many to need adjudication, but it will hold it? Okay, anyway. Gwinnett County is located in the Atlanta suburbs, a Democratic stronghold. Right now, poll managers are checking in with their actual ballots and electronic ballots. The electronic ballots will then be run through a machine in the back room. Of course, he said they will probably convene the election board to call it a night at some point later tonight, knowing that there will still be work to do in the coming days. Keep in mind that military/overseas ballots have until the end of the day, Friday, to arrive and get counted. Let's see. Georgia's largest county is, quote, on track, unquote, to process almost all ballots tonight, official says. Fulton County, which includes most of the city of Atlanta, should be able to process the vast majority of its ballots on Tuesday night, according to County Elections Director Richard Barron. Quote, we're on track with processing. We should be able to process almost all, if not all, ballots tonight, Barron told reporters Tuesday. Interesting that the largest county in the state is able to get everything done tonight, but then Gwinnett County is like, well, it'll take until Friday.
It's going to take us a bit, yeah.
Barron said more people voted in person today in the county than on election day for the general election in November. He said about 60,000 voted in person that day, whereas he said he believed about 70,000 voted Tuesday, though he called that number a, quote, rough estimate, unquote. Barron said the county has received about 108,000 absentee ballots and has scanned about 100,500 of those ballots already. Quote, we will upload more absentee by mail results later, unquote. Let's see. Imagine this, the headline of the next part. Biden is keeping a close eye on Georgia tonight, you think? Yeah, I'm not going to read that one. Let's see. So right now, here's the current vote tallies. So between Warnock and Loeffler, Warnock is currently leading with 1,011,000 votes versus Loeffler's 828,000. And then between Ossoff and Perdue, Ossoff is currently winning with 1,005,000, and Perdue's got 836,000. With some 50 some odd. Oh, that's just the percentages of the votes. They don't say what totals they are. If 43 of the estimated vote is in, the Democrats are currently leading. So it may be that the Democrats gain control of the Senate as well.
It certainly looks like they're on pace to.
So, which means, of course, that everything Biden and the Democrats want to get done will happen.
Mm-hmm.
So do you guys think it has something to do with recent events, or you think it's just kind of...
I think it's shitty campaigning, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it's again, what little I've paid attention to, it's weak candidates and crappy campaigning. Yeah.
Gotcha.
And I do think that the Senate not voting for that $2,000 probably hurt a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, it's and then holding it over people's heads. It's like, if you vote for the Democrats, you'll get those $2,000.
Yep.
Yeah,
So
that's what I was thinking. I'm like, I didn't want to, attribute it specifically to that, but I'm like, that had to have an effect, right?
Oh yeah.
Now, if I wanted to be a real cynic, and it's a really tough job, I know, one might think that the Republicans overall, having already lost the White House, just say, let's just lose and spend the next 4 years fundraising. Because God knows there's going to be plenty of money going around to try to fight the Democrats for 4 years.
Well, neither of these, I don't know a whole lot about, what's his name, Purdue.
Mm-hmm.
Loeffler's not a great candidate.
No, she hasn't been, no.
She's got way too much baggage, and Mitch didn't help him out. He really didn't with not doing the $2,000 thing, because that gives the Democrat. Joe Biden literally came out like, if you put us in, then we'll give you that $2,000. So
yeah, well, now he's got to come clean on that promise too, doesn't he?
You know what? That'll be interesting to see, because I was wondering about that. Like the Democrats have kind of unintentionally, like the ball has rolled back into their court, and I don't think they really noticed that. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes. If they're just like, oh, you thought we were serious? Fuck you. We have absolute power. We ain't give you shit. So
yeah,
we'll see how that goes.
Especially with all the rhetoric of how the $1.8 trillion bill offered in October wasn't enough, and then they settled for $900 billion and $600 checks. Oh, but now we'll give you $2,000.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah. All right. Well, anyway, we will keep an eye on that as the evening proceeds. I'd be surprised if CNN didn't call it for both Democratic candidates before the night's out, but who knows? We'll check back on that at the top of the next hour. In other parts of the world, this is Kyle. Thank you so much. Hello, chat people in Lawton. Hello, Kyle. I assume Kyle's in another part of the world, so that still works, sort of. But in a different part of the world, dozens of Hong Kong opposition figures reportedly arrested under national security law. Yeah, because, that's what you do to the opposition in your country. You arrest them.
What a shock.
Yeah, in China, of all places.
Mm-hmm. And a lot of Americans are salivating over that idea.
Dozens of former lawmakers and opposition activists were reportedly arrested Wednesday morning in Hong Kong on suspicion of violating the city's sweeping national security legislation in the biggest crackdown yet since the law was imposed by Beijing last year. According to statements posted online, those arrested were all participants in a primary election held last July designed to thin the field of pro-democracy candidates ahead of legislative elections in September. Those elections were eventually postponed due to the coronavirus pandemic, but not before multiple candidates were disqualified and warnings made that those participating could be in breach of the then weeks-old security law. Quote, with the support of external forces, opposition groups and leaders have deliberately devised plans to hold this so-called primary election, which is a serious provocation to the current electoral system and cause serious damage to the fairness and justice of the Legislative Council elections, the liaison office, Beijing's top representative in the city, said at the time. On Wednesday, Hong Kong police appeared to follow through on that threat, reportedly arresting primary candidates in an early morning sweep. Those detained include former Democratic Party lawmakers James Tu, Andrew Wan, and Lam Chuk-ting, who had until late last year been members of the city's legislative council, before they and all other members of the pro-democracy bloc stepped down in protest of the government's decision to eject several lawmakers. Primary elections are a normal function in democracies around the world. At the time of the Hong Kong vote, the United States Democratic primary, which President-elect Joe Biden won, was still ongoing. Hong Kong has also held such votes in the past in an attempt to match the organization and discipline of the rival pro-Beijing camp and avoid splintering the pro-democracy vote. Thank you, McCall, Driving 8 Man. What's the difference between this and arresting Antifa? Well, these guys look like they were lawmakers and politicians and not terrorists, I guess.
Yeah, were they like burning down a city? Or
no, they were trying to hold elections, I guess, counter to what Beijing wanted.
Yeah, I must have. I don't know if you read something about that. Were they Were they actively doing something illegal outside of just not existing within the space they're supposed to?
Well, they were trying to hold an election.
Okay.
They're trying to like actually. So in a statement, the Democratic Party said the three had been arrested by the National Security Branch of the police on suspicion of subversion in relation to the primary election. Joshua Wong, the prominent Umbrella Movement activist.
Oh, that's bad news.
I know, right? T-virus. Jailed late last year, is also being investigated in relation to the primary. His home was raided Wednesday morning, a post on his verified social media said. Hong Kong police did not immediately respond to a request for comment. Numerous other prominent activists and former lawmakers, including Umbrella Movement leader Lester Shum. Okay, this is somebody's nickname in the next name. Quote unquote, long hair Leong Kwok Hung, Civic Party leader Alvin Yang, former journalist Gwyneth Ho, and community activist Eddie Chu were also arrested, according to statements published on their verified social media. Quote, I lost count already, but believe all who participated in the pro-democracy primary in Hong Kong last year will be arrested, organizers included, said Lo Kin Hei, chairman of the Democratic Party, on Twitter. Quote, very likely over 40 or even 50, unquote.
Dude, even the organizers, bro?
Yeah. Wednesday's arrests are the most dramatic and sweeping escalation under the national security law, which Hong Kong Chief Executive Carrie Lam and others had once promised would be limited in effect and only target a small number of fringe activists. Former lawmaker Emily Lau described the arrests as, quote, disgraceful and ridiculous. Quote, how can people taking part in a primary election to select candidates be subversive and in breach of the national security law, she said. Quote, this is a blatant attempt to intimidate pro-democracy activists and warn people not to engage in politics and collaboration, unquote. Yes, you are correct. Yeah, so you see those New York Times articles the last day or two praising China for how they've run everything?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, golly gee whiz, Batman. Yeah. So anyway, yeah, China's a great place, guys. Boy, we should follow their model to the letter, shouldn't we?
Dude, you say that in the wrong circles and you'll get an applause.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Well, I am well aware. All right. Well, let's go on the other side of the planet from the UK. UK decision to delay second COVID-19 vaccine dose is dubious.
Dubious?
Dubious, indubitably. The rollout of the Pfizer, BioNTech, and Moderna COVID-19 vaccines in the U.S. is not proceeding smoothly, given the fact that it wasn't supposed to be happening at all. But anyway, which is not surprising given the logistical challenges of administering a novel vaccine that requires 2 doses. Oh, okay. So there's a reason for that. Because before, I was told it was all incompetence on the part of the government.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. There are similar problems in the UK. Oh, there are? Oh, okay. Where the Pfizer, BioNTech, and Oxford University AstraZeneca vaccines are now authorized, the latter gaining authorization just last week. Accordingly, the British government, without public discussion and in an opaque manner, is varying the protocols for vaccine administration. The second dose of both vaccines can now be given up to 12 weeks after the first dose. I thought it had to be 2. And it even is permitting that different vaccines can be used for the first and second doses in some situations. I mean, both of these protocol changes have little or no support in clinical trial data. Yeah, I mean, they all do the same thing, but they're not all constructed exactly the same. So if you get 2 different vaccines, isn't it just you're getting half of what you need in each instance?
I'm not sure how it works.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. The goal of these, frankly, large-scale human experiments is to increase the number of people. Wait. Okay, I don't know if this is supposed to be a quote because this sounds like a quote. Wait, is this an opinion piece? This is an opinion piece. What? You guys put... Okay, the way this was headlined, I thought it was a news story, but no, this is an opinion piece. I apologize, guys. I should have said that ahead of time. This is written by someone named John P. Moore, who is a professor of microbiology and immunology involved in vaccine research at Weill Cornell Medicine in New York City.
Was it CNN?
Yeah, this is CNN. The way the headline was written, I thought this was okay. My mistake.
Well, you were forgiven for mistaking CNN's journalism for opinion.
Yeah.
Anyway, the goal of these, frankly, large-scale human experiments is to increase the number of people given their first dose and thereby partially protected. Similar proposals about delaying the second dose have been discussed in the U.S., though on Monday, top officials from the U.S. Food and Drug Administration said in a statement that the FDA does not support changing the vaccine administration protocol initially set forth based on a lack of evidence that the vaccine would still be sufficiently effective with an altered administration plan. Pfizer, for its part, has said that the trial data do not support that the first dose alone is effective beyond 21 days after injection. Thank you, Okie Native. Dog, cat, fox touched me. That's kind of a trick since he's on the moon and you're in Oklahoma. So I don't know how that worked, but okay, if you say so. I totally believe you. I'm sure the media will as well. And thank you again, Okie Native, for the smiling dog, cat, fox. That's getting some mixed messages there. I mean, if you just like, rubbed up against your leg or something, then that kind of touching. Okay, well, he's a friendly dog, cat, fox. But anyway, in the U.S., whatever public confidence has been gained in COVID-19 vaccines is largely rooted in the thorough and transparent evaluation process that allows anyone to attend FDA and U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention advisory panel meetings, inspect the data, and raise questions. I had no idea that any of that was going on. But okay. Hence, scientists and physicians can understand what is being evaluated and are able to recommend the vaccines to friends, family, and the wider public. I'll tell you what. All things considered, I really don't need some scientist never heard of before to say there's a vaccine, you should probably get it. I think we all know that. I think everybody's been waiting for that for last year. So I don't know where this is going. I think he's just arguing against the idea of changing the dosage and timing of it, and I don't disagree. Everything I've heard from the beginning of this is you get the first dose, and within 2 weeks you have to get the second dose, and then you are as vaccinated as they can make you right now. When I first read that they were thinking about just having the doses or splitting them up to try to inoculate more people or twice the number of people, if you inoculate twice the number of people but only do it halfway, then you're not doing anything. So I haven't understood quite what the logic is in saying, oh, well, we'll stretch this out or something. Either you end up getting vaccinated or you don't. I mean, I remember when I was really young, what do we get vaccinated for? I forget what it was. It was something where you had to do two or three phases of it over the course of like a month. And the doctor said, you have to be back here within this many days, because if you don't, then what we gave you will have worn off and we'll have to start over again, basically. I'm like, okay. And I believed him because they've been doing this a while. So the government's saying that they're going to try to basically dilute the effectiveness of the vaccine after we've waited this long for it. And the only way to get it firmly is to, I don't know, this all doesn't make any sense to me. So I agree with the opinion piece writer here with his concerns.
Yeah, it's all this talk about vaccines, man. There was a meme over on Facebook that said, God damn it, I picked the wrong year to finally watch I Am Legend.
No shit.
And I'm just like, yeah.
Yeah, that'll do it.
James Colley, thanks so much. He didn't say he didn't like it. He just said it happened, damn apologist. LOL. Yes. Oh, gosh. The scandal doth continue. Let's see, Jim Gila, Scribe Light. It's a different type of vaccine than what you had as a child. It works differently. No, I know this is an mRNA vaccine and not like inject somebody with a version of the virus vaccine. But all the same, if there's a protocol for how to become fully inoculated against something, you follow that. And like I say, this doesn't.
Isn't that how it got approved? Was with that specific?
Yeah, I mean,
regimen?
That was the thing. Yeah, I mean that was the protocol. That's the only way you can make sure it takes hold and works fully. Because if you give people one dose and 21 days later or whatever it wears off, you haven't done anything. So this doesn't make any sense. But we shall see. The other big news of the day that I saw a lot, and not surprisingly, contention on the Twitters and otherwise. The officer who shot Jacob Blake will not face charges, district attorney says.
Mm-hmm.
And so people are keeping a watch on. Where's that again? Was it Minneapolis again or whatever? Minnesota?
That was the Kenosha.
Kenosha,
Wasn't
yeah.
it? No.
Yeah, that's right. Kenosha, yep. Now, if this doesn't sound like a local name, I don't know what does. Rustin Shesky will not face charges in the shooting of Jacob Blake, Kenosha County District Attorney Michael Graverly announced Tuesday. Shesky, a white officer, shot Blake, a 29-year-old black man, 7 times in the back while responding to a domestic incident on August 23rd, 2020. There's more to it than that, isn't there, CNN?
Nope.
There's something else happening at the time of the shooting, right? It's not that the cops just showed up and started shooting, right,
Nope.
CNN?
That's the whole story.
And he was unarmed, right? Because I saw that all over the place today. Well, the Wall Street Journal said an unarmed black man. Like, oh, that's what happened, right, CNN?
CNN's like, no, he had arms.
Yeah. Blake survived the shooting, but was left paralyzed from the waist down. Quote, "It is my decision now that no Kenosha law enforcement officer will be charged with any criminal offense based on the facts and laws," unquote, Graverly said Tuesday. Tuesday's announcement comes as anger continues to mount across the country at the repeated deaths of black people at the hands of police. The summer of 2020 saw protests, some of which turned violent. Some?
The repeated deaths of black people.
Yeah.
As if no white people have died by the cops since that happened. And several have.
Or on the flip side, how many encounters with police where no one got shot?
Well, you know.
We don't talk about that, do we? We don't talk about the untold number of encounters with police, black, white, or otherwise, where nobody got shot.
Yep.
Calling for police reform and an end to police brutality sparked by the deaths of George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, and others. Graverly announced there will be no charges for the other 2 officers involved in the incident. They were identified by the Wisconsin Justice Department in September as officers Vincent Arenas and Brittany Moronic. Not moronic, but moronic. Blake will also not face charges, Graverly said. Really? Stealing a car, attempting assaulting an officer, grabbing a knife, all that stuff. Okay. Sorry?
I'm sorry. When it's saying that, does it? I'm sure we haven't seen it, but I'm trying to figure out if they've dropped the original charges against him.
Well, let's see. Shesky told investigators that he used deadly force during the chaotic encounter because he was afraid Blake, while attempting to flee the scene, was trying to kidnap a child in the backseat of the vehicle. The Wisconsin Department of Justice had said Blake had a knife in his possession and the weapon was found on the floorboard of his vehicle. Blake himself told authorities he possessed a knife, Graverly said. Quote, "Jacob Blake, while actively resisting, arms himself with a knife." Adding that, unquote, adding that he's heard supports of Blake say he was unarmed. So like just like pylons came along and started telling you about what Blake was doing? Or do you mean supporters? Supports of Blake say he was unarmed. Quote, "It's absolutely incontrovertible that Jacob Blake was armed with a knife during this encounter. All the discussion that he's unarmed contradicts even what he himself has said multiple times," unquote. An attorney for Blake's family disputed that Blake posed a threat. Quote, "There was no point in the video that is articulable for any officer to say that he was under harm at that particular point. I think that's completely bogus, and I think that is just a rationalization to try to show what is really essentially an intentional act," unquote. Yeah, no. The officer intentionally shot him. You're correct. Yeah. He pulled the trigger 7 times on a guy who had a knife and was attempting to drive away with a kid in the back. Yeah, no. It was an intentional act. I'm not going to argue with you on there. Question is, was it unjustified and or illegal? The answer is no. Quote, "It's not against the law to have a knife. People have knives for a variety of different reasons. Jake is privy to having a knife." That's not the point, sir.
Dude, listen, I never leave my house and get in my car without my knife. You know what I'm saying? Who knows? What if you got to butter some toast while you're driving? You never know.
No, well, you got to peel an apple or, skin a deer, just kind of whatever.
Yeah. Everybody has a car knife.
Anyway.
Holy shit.
Yeah, so there's that. Speaking of rationalization, Mr. Lawyer.
Hey, chat, real quick. I need everybody to tell me what you do with the knife you keep in your car at all times.
Butter toast.
You butter toast. All right. Well, strangely enough, that perfectly takes us to the bottom of the hour. So that means it's MSS News time. So if you have a news story you'd like us to read on the air, chat, please send it to us via Twitter using the hashtag MSS News. Can't promise we'll get to them all, but that might be because we've already read it. Or something. This happened today as well. Nope, I don't want to close that. Thank you. I want to minimize that. All right. This comes from Dr. Keeve. Dr. Keeve tells us about Dr. Dre, because Dr. Dre suffers brain aneurysm and remains in ICU at LA Hospital.
Yeah, I saw that. Damn.
Yeah. Okay, Native, thank you so much. I have a car knife that keeps my bang bang company. Oh, man. Yeah. I tell you what, brain aneurysm, one of my sort of like deep-seated fears. Because my sister had one when she was young. And fortunately, I mean, for a brain aneurysm, it was about as mild as you can get. She just ended up being blind in one eye. But that and just the whole notion of it is just, sort of one of my most like instinctual, like, ugh. Dr. Dre has reportedly suffered a brain aneurysm, TMZ is reporting. The 55-year-old record executive is currently in the ICU at Cedars-Sinai Hospital in Los Angeles. Dr. Dre's aneurysm happened on Monday, January 4th, just shortly after the holidays, and was rushed to the hospital by ambulance. TMZ says that he is, quote, stable and lucid, unquote. However, there is no clear cause of what happened to him, and the physicians are doing many tests to find out more. Currently, Dr. Dre is in the middle of a divorce from his wife, Nicole Young, who is seeking over $2 million in monthly support. Oh, yeah, we went over the breakdown of what she needed that for.
Yeah.
Like $2 million a month for entertainment or something. The two have been married for 20 years. Dr. Dre's eldest daughter, LaTanya, has also revealed that she personally hadn't seen her dad in almost 20 years as well. Okay. Thank you, James Colley. My knife is used as a dog, cat, fox deterrent. Well, you don't have to worry about it. He's on the moon and you're down there. It's fine, Just settle down. He doesn't have a spacesuit of his own, Not yet. Just give me some time. Okay, well, so that happened. Moving on from that, because, hey, talking about one celebrity in dire straits, let's talk about another one that's already dead, I guess. This comes from Massive Dynamics. If it'll come up. Hello, story. Do you want to come up? I'm taking me to a blank page. Let me try that again. Any chance I'm going to see the story now? Yes, okay. Robin Williams and the real story of the undiagnosed dementia he never knew he had.
Oh.
He never knew he had? I thought that his knowledge of the diagnosis is, okay, well, maybe I was wrong. In the summer of 2012, Robin Williams wrote a note in the inside covers of his 12 Steps book, just a short sentence detailing what he hoped might be his legacy. Quote, I want to help people be less afraid, unquote. 2 years later, he died by suicide at the age of 63, a tragic, traumatic end to a brilliant life. Williams, known for his quick wit, his genius, his ability to always raise a smile, was no doubt incredibly afraid in his final days, unable to work out why his brilliant mind was, as he must have seen it, letting him down. Despite outward appearances in his final on-screen role in Night at the Museum, Secret of the Tomb, on set he had been struggling to remember his lines. In private, the final months of his life had been consumed by anxiety, paranoia, panic attacks, and insomnia, with no concrete explanation as to why. Quote, good night, my love, unquote, he said to his wife, Susan Schneider Williams, on the evening of August 10th, 2014. The next day, his home in a suburb of Marin County, is it Marin or Marin? I always forget. San Francisco became a shrine of mourning as news of his death made headlines around the world. Quote, to the funniest man who ever lived, unquote, summed up how he was viewed by the world in one of the many tributes left outside. What Williams never found out was that he had been suffering from the neurological disease Lewy body dementia, a diagnosis that only came to his widow with a post-mortem following his death. See, I was obviously under a misapprehension. I was under the impression that he had been diagnosed with that, and it was the knowledge of that that had led him to commit suicide. But it was the symptoms of it prior to his... Okay. Medical professionals said it was one of the worst cases they had ever seen. Ugh. Filmmaker Tyler Norwood, who was contacted by Schneider Williams to raise awareness of what really happened to her husband in his final days and years, now hopes to provide clarity and honor the actor's memory in a new documentary film, Robin's Wish. It is important that the millions of people who loved him know the truth, he tells Sky News. Quote, Robin Williams was in my life from like 8 years old, and the movies that he made followed me at points in my life that were important to me. I think millions and millions of people had that experience with him, so when one of these celebrities pass in a way that's jarring, that can be really disturbing. The reason this film needed to get made was because Robin deserved better as a human being who gave so much to us all. The idea that when he passed, the real tragedy of his life is that he didn't have an answer to what happened to him up until the end. He never got to know what this thing was. Well, I'm assuming that if it was the worst case the doctors had ever seen, there wasn't much of a positive prognosis oncoming. All the same.
Doesn't sound like it now.
This goes on for several more pages, but so there's a documentary being made about Robin Williams' life, and I guess also covering the disease itself. I've heard of that before, that the name of that disease, but I think that my recollection was that he had been told ahead of time, and that was the problem. Apparently not. Thank you, Paul Farrell. I carry 2 knives, a flashlight, multi-tool, pistola, and spare magazine every day. Oh, okay. Well, Second Amendment, I guess. Okay, moving on from that. I read this earlier today, and I couldn't quite believe it. But Froggy sends us this one. LA ambulances told not to transport some patients to hospital.
What?
What was on the radio this morning? It was either the radio or I read it this morning. Either way. Ambulance workers in Los Angeles County, California, have been told not to transport hospital patients that have extremely low chances of survival.
Wow.
The directive comes as officials say the region could soon hit over 1,000 COVID-related deaths per day, and hospitals are overrun with patients. Emergency workers have also been told to ration oxygen, which is in short supply due to the pandemic. Hospital beds in LA are running low, and officials fear a post-holiday spike. New York City issued a similar directive to ambulance workers in April 2020 at the height of the city's COVID outbreak, instructing them not to bring in patients who were unable to be resuscitated at the scene. The LA County Department of Public Health reported 9,142 new COVID cases on Monday and an additional 77 deaths. The county, which is the worst hit in the U.S., has recorded 818,000 coronavirus cases and more than 10,700 deaths since the start of the pandemic. Wasn't California one of the places where, like, the majority of the biggest protests over George Floyd occurred during the summer?
Yeah, they had some pretty big ones down there in L.A.
Picano the Driving Ape Man, thanks so much. I carry a fixed 5-inch Spanish Enox-made Ruco knife. You know, the chat's starting to sound like that scene in Jaws where they're like comparing scars.
Huh.
It's like, well, mine's bigger than yours. That's not a knife. That's a knife. Okay. Thank you, Bacalo. Hospitals in California, which are already at maximum capacity, have begun seeing patients in gift shops, parking lots, and outdoor tents. Ambulances are being forced to queue outside of hospitals for hours as they wait for emergency room workers to take their patients. Dr. Marianne Gausch-Hill, the medical director of LA County's Emergency Services Agency, who issued the latest directives, told CBS News that ambulance workers will continue to work to save lives of patients at the scene. Quote, we are not abandoning resuscitation, Dr. Gausch-Hill said. Quote, we are absolutely doing best practice resuscitation, and that is to do it in the field, do it right away. What we're asking is that, which is slightly different than before, is that we are emphasizing the fact that transporting these patients arrested leads to very poor outcomes. We knew that already, and we just don't want to impact our hospitals, unquote. If you leave somebody without taking them to the hospital for further care, there's going to be a bad outcome.
Yep.
They're
exchanging possible bad outcome for definite bad outcome.
I guess. Treating heart attack and stroke patients at the scene can increase chances of survival, she said. Yes. You know what increase them more? If they get full-on medical attention at a hospital. But boy, oh boy. Okay. So now I got to wonder how many collateral lives are being lost, not from the pandemic, but from the effects of the pandemic once again, and poor planning, and oh my God. Okay. Well.
Oh, we lost Satsu.
Oh, did we? Oh.
Hi, Satsu.
Okay. Well, I got my eye on the control panel to see if he pops back in a second. If he doesn't, then I will check back as I can. Oh, there he is. What'd you do?
I'm having that issue again where you guys sound all distorted and weird, and I don't know what to do about it. So I figured leaving and coming back would help, and it didn't. So
so we still sound weird?
Yeah, you both sound very...
Monkey, how do I sound to you?
Sound fine to me.
Monkey sounds fine to me, so it must be you, Satsu.
Yeah, it's weird because I opened up like YouTube to see if like any other audio was doing that, and no, it's just here. It's the
try this like logging out, turning off your browser, and coming back.
I can give that a shot.
Yeah, give it a shot real quick. I'd hate to.
We'll see what happens.
All right, we'll see in a second. Let's see. Oh, I should probably wait until Satsu's back to read a Frosted Glass. Wouldn't want him to miss out on that. Okay, we've already read that one or talked about that one. Okay, this one comes from Emperor W.R. Costin. Keep an eye on the control panel over there. So many windows and panels I got to watch. A quarter of Canadians don't want the COVID-19 vaccine. We asked the experts why. Why don't you ask? Yeah, why don't you ask the people who don't want it? After the COVID-19 pandemic tossed the world into chaos, the light at the end of the tunnel was the announcement that major pharmaceutical companies had vaccines in development. 2 vaccines made by Pfizer-BioNTech and Moderna have now been approved for use. As Canada rolls out its vaccination campaign, beginning with frontline workers and later the general population, life may soon return to normality. Yeah, I doubt it. But according to Statistics Canada, about 25% of Canadians are not planning on getting the vaccine. The reasons vary, and many revolve around the speed with which the vaccines were hurriedly developed and the technology used to make them. According to the data, some 22.3 million Canadians, or about 75% of the population aged 12 or older, indicated that they were somewhat likely or very likely to get the COVID-19 vaccine. The data showed that those with higher levels of education had a higher likelihood to want a vaccine. So all the stupid people don't want it, is that it? While the anti-vaccine community is small, estimated at roughly 1 to 3% of Canada's population, it is a vocal one. The WHO says vaccine hesitancy is one of the top risks to global health. If enough people opt to not vaccinate themselves or their children, the WHO says, it can lead to outbreaks of viruses that were previously almost completely eradicated, such as measles. This is true. Thank you, Bacall Driving 8 Man. It's closer to 40%, and it starts at Trudeau. Okay. Care to expand on that, Pincalo? And you can just put in a regular message. I'll read it. I don't know if they'll talk about Trudeau here. For a small percentage of Canadians, worry surrounding the time it required to make, test, and approve the vaccine, as well as the genetic technology used to create the Pfizer and Moderna vaccines, has them on edge. Susan Stanfield, a self-described human rights-based natural health advocate, forms part of that small percentage. An organizer of anti-lockdown protests, she has stated, without evidence, that COVID-19 is a man-made virus unleashed by the world's ruling elite to collapse the economy, and has circulated claims that animal trials were skipped during the testing of both Pfizer and Moderna vaccines. That's a...
What now?
Yeah, that was an interesting breakdown of reality. There's a lot going on. That's a very, very heavily packed set of claims. However, okay, and then they go through debunking all of her claims, or at least giving their version of things for the next page and a half. Anyway, so there's a percentage of Canadians who are wary of the vaccine, et cetera, et cetera.
Right.
That's probably also true of most of the people in most. I mean, certainly in America, there's a contingent that is dubious. Let's say.
Sure.
And I know from stories of the past that other parts of the world where knowledge of how vaccines work and science in general is not as well understood also makes paranoia rampant.
Well, even here, there's been stories popping up that have people worried because it's the medical staff who are like, yeah, we're not taking that.
Picala says, Stats Canada always fudges their numbers, and the biggest reason is a lack of trust in Trudeau and the Libs. Oh, okay. Gotcha. They rushed the vaccine and are using a lot of Chinese data. Yeah, I've heard everything from there's a risk of fertility problems. And how are we sounding, Satsu?
Nope, it didn't change. I mean,
my God.
I can hear the words you guys are saying. It just sounds all weird.
Unplug your headphones and plug them back in? I don't know.
Well, like I said, it ain't the headphone, because like everything else that plays audio on my computer, I've checked a couple things. None of it is distorted. It's just you guys in here.
Okay. Well, I guess we'll just have to grin and bear it. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I can hear you. I just got to turn my volume up a little bit.
Okay. Well, I will get closer to the mic just in case that helps at all. And I was waiting for you to get back because we have a couple of frosted glass articles to choose from.
Oh, thanks.
So, Satsu, since you're here, pick a number between 1 and 3.
3.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh,
I sounded so enthused by that.
Yeah. So this one comes from Frosted Glass, as stated. Why socializing across racial lines matters.
Uh-huh.
You guys excited yet?
Yeah.
Okay. This is by Deborah L. Plummer. And because I'm sure it'll become relevant, and not because of any other reason, our writer is black. All right. My friends cross racial lines, and so parties I host are often racially mixed gatherings, because that's important to you. The tone of these parties are not radically different from same race social activities.
What?
Can you just, go with me for a moment on this. Imagine you are reading this text out of a book from the 1950s, written by a white supremacist trying to sound diplomatic. Would it sound positive to you under that same circumstances, the exact same words that I'm reading right now? Yeah.
Look,
okay.
Fraternizing with the savages isn't all that bad from when we just talked to regular whites,
Yeah, much like the first Thanksgiving, bringing civilization to the heathen. Yeah, okay. The usual topics come up: family, money, weight gain, politics, work, and what's good on Netflix. All of those topics peppered with jokes. But I know the energy is different in racially mixed social settings, a bit guarded, with a different flavor of expression. So you're a mind reader now. Okay. I've witnessed some black friends become introverts in the presence of white people and act as if they're at work rather than a party. So your black friends are racist? I've witnessed some white friends struggle with words in the presence of blacks, trying to use all of their brain energy to overcome the social loadings of racism and bias and not be considered even remotely offensive. Yeah, it's something when we live in a current society and zeitgeist where you have to walk on eggshells every fucking second on the off chance that somebody decides that you're being a microaggressor. I wonder why that is. At times, the party reflects a high school cafeteria in a racially mixed school where students, no longer in forced classroom integration, socialize within their own racial groups at lunchtime. BIPOC guests in one room and white guests in another, and me, as host, mingling among each group. You must hold some amazing parties. By definition, our social lives and leisure activities are not governed by equal opportunity laws as with corporations and school systems. By definition. Okay. In our leisure time, no one is mandated to make one's social circles racially diverse.
Right.
But the spirit of post-Reconstruction Jim Crow laws still exists in our leisure activities. God! Dr. Dre, I'm going to come with you here in a second. In some public places of leisure, beaches, clubs, resorts, parks, there are unwritten racial boundaries employed by participants, and as a result, these places are segregated. It is not the structure, but our choosing that keeps these institutions segregated. As adults, we would rather only play with those who share our same racial identity.
And this is not a problem for you?
Well, no, she's complaining, except for the fact that this is being promoted.
Yeah.
In positive tones. If anyone in chat has not seen my video, the curriculum of fear, talking about the promotion of affinity groups in schools, racial affinity groups. Racial segregation is now a good thing.
Yeah,
it's
being presented as such.
Yeah. Similar initiative was taking place in New York schools a couple of years ago. She's complaining, I think, except that she seems to be unaware of the fact that this is supposedly a good thing now. That this is supposed to be. I mean, you saw what happened in CHOP, where they set that one set of the park apart from everybody else. They put a rope up and said nobody but black people can use the park today or something.
Yes. In our all-inclusive space, this area right here is reserved for the Negroes. It's like, oh, okay.
In the last analysis, do we self-segregate because of free choice and because people simply enjoy doing things with folks racially and culturally similar to them? Or do our parallel leisure activities represent exclusionary practices resulting from covert racism and unconscious bias that lead people to feel excluded and that they do not belong in certain public places such as beaches, clubs, resorts, and parks? Maybe if we didn't focus on race so much, maybe if we made race an irrelevancy, could we do that? Could we try to do that again, like we've been supposedly trying to do since the civil rights movement? Can we go back to that notion, please? Where it's as relevant to assessing someone as their eye color or their hair color. Can we go back to that effort, please?
No.
The town beach in Oak Bluffs on Martha's Vineyard has been called the, quote, inkwell, unquote, since the late 19th century. The term, first used by whites as a racial slur for the part of the beach frequently visited by blacks, continues to be used by blacks as a symbol of pride for the popular beach along the Atlantic seaboard. So they've taken back the term then? I hear that's like a good thing.
Well, they've basically just taken the term.
Oh, okay.
They had to own it in the first place to take it back. They commandeered it.
The comedic video Funny or Die. No, Funny or Die isn't a video, it's a website. Okay. Do you even internet, lady? Okay. The comedic video, maybe she meant on Funny or Die, I don't know, where a black hiker, played by actor Blair Underwood, is stopped by a white couple while in one of America's national parks, illustrates how many parks remain racially segregated. Quote, Are you lost? The white couple gently asks. So you're citing a comedy video as evidence of segregated parks.
Yep.
So parks are segregated?
I
By their
guess.
telling, yes.
Okay. Separate, the next section, separate but equal socializing. Perhaps our racially segregated leisure activities are simply a byproduct of Americans' hidden caste system described in Isabel Wilkerson's Caste, The Origins of Our Discontents. You know that famous book, right?
Oh yeah.
Actually,
One of
it's
my favorite books.
well, truth be told, if I remember correctly, it's actually on the same reading list as How to Be Anti-Racist and White Fragility.
I would not be shocked.
I would not be shocked at all. In the professional world, it is common and even acceptable for parallel organizations to exist. Okay. As a psychologist, I joined the American Psychological Association and the Association of Black Psychologists. Are you telling me that some things are divvied up by race? Like, I don't know, the NAACP, the Black Caucus, these things? Oh, you really? You don't say. Notice how there's not like an Asian. Is there an Asian caucus?
I'm not sure if there's.
Who the hell knows?
Is there a white caucus? I doubt it.
Oh yeah, that's called America, Scribe.
Oh, right. Black physicians are members of American Medical Association. Maybe do you mean the American Medical Association? The largest association of physicians, and the National Medical Association, which promotes the collective interests of physicians and patients of African descent. Okay, well, so are you then saying that black people have a problem with segregating themselves into different organizations to make them race specific? There are race-specific organizations like these in almost every profession. Why is this so? Oh, I don't know. You tell me. These organizations offer racial affinity group forums. Am I psychic or something? Where racial identity can be fortified.
What do you mean by fortified?
You know, I'm not going to tell the story again. The racial identitarianism is a bad thing. It was a bad thing when it was the neo KKK back in the 90s. It's a bad thing now. It doesn't matter what race you're talking about. If you whittle everybody down to nothing but their skin color and promote that as something that is good all by itself and says something about you, that is called racism. Stop it. Promoting this is a good thing. Are people really this fucking stupid?
Yes. Yes, they are.
Where racial identity can be fortified, where networks can be established, and where they can collectively forward an agenda of interest to their racial group. It's not a group.
You know, like the white supremacists used to do.
Okay. Setting aside just the absolute, I'm going to say it, offensive nature of how she's promoting this. It's not a group. It's a demographic. Race. I know you want it to be a group. Here's the thing. They want these to be groups. They want skin color to denote groupthink, group movement, group interests. I understand that's what they want. I am going to push back on it every single time I see it because it's not the case, and it is so fucking regressive. The fact that these parallel organizations continue to exist demonstrates that inclusive and representative practices are not fully present in the organizations where there is a large membership by the majority race.
What?
Okay.
Read that one again.
Yeah, the fact that these parallel organizations continue to exist demonstrates that inclusive and representative practices are not fully present in the organizations where there is a large membership by the majority race. These organizations are still perceived to be white organizations.
By the people willingly separating themselves into black groups.
Yes. Okay, so the American Medical Association is racist. That's just the conclusion. If there is a separate association just for black people, then the AMA must be racist.
That's the only conclusion, right?
Yeah, because otherwise, black people have nowhere to go where they're not being discriminated against, except to create an organization that discriminates on the basis of race to its membership. So you have an organization that is, by suspicion, implicitly racist. The only way to cure that is to create an organization that is explicitly racist.
And that's that part right there. Exactly what you just said now is the part that always gets me. Because like I said, you're an alien from outer space, you come to Earth, and you happen to land in America, and you're explaining to them that those evil people over there they exclude people like us. That's what they do. They don't want people like us around. And they look over and they glance over in that group, and it is a variety of people, most of them white, but there's black people and people of all colors. And they're like, us, we're not like that. We're inclusive. And it's all Negroes. And the alien's like, I don't believe you. I feel like something's wrong here.
This lady, okay, I'm skipping. This goes on for pages. I'm skipping down to the end. This lady is just full of cognitive dissonance. So on the one hand, she's promoting, we have to cross racial lines. On the other hand, she's promoting racial identity as something that is important and necessary. And this is how she ends. Go ahead.
Has she actually promoted the idea that we need to be inclusive?
Well, here's the thing. Okay. I'm going to read the last couple paragraphs. If our socializing patterns are central to understanding culture, identity, postmodernism, and globalization, then socializing across racial lines is critical for understanding our collective identity and what it takes to move us from separate and unequal to together and equal. Socializing across racial lines for enjoyment and renewal holds the power to build the kind of trust necessary to advance racial equity and become better humans in this world that we share.
I don't necessarily disagree with that.
No, I don't. But the thing is, it is put in stark contrast with everything else that she was saying earlier.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense. It's like, okay, do you want race to become irrelevant or not? Do you want race to not be a separating factor between us, socially or otherwise, or not? Why are you saying that these organizations are necessary? They shouldn't be necessary. They should be eliminated. Not because they're just black, but because they separate people and they promote the idea that there are two different realities in a singular profession, talking about the American Medical Association.
You know what I feel like just happened here? I feel like we just got the version of the hate yourself because you're white course that they give to black. Because you remember they said everybody's required to take these courses, these these diversity courses or whatever. And it's like, okay, white kids, you go in this one. And it's like, you're fucking terrible. You're white. All of your ancestors are murderers and you should feel bad. And then you go in the black one or the BIPOC, whatever one. And this is the one they get where they're like, yeah, you guys are separate. You need your groups or whatever. But just letting you know, buddy, it is cool to be friends with those whiteys sometimes. It seems like we got the watered down nice version of the fucking, it's weird. I don't know. That's odd.
Well, she started out talking about going to the beach and stuff, and that's a whole different thing. Most people go to the beach with their friends. And yes, it is just true. Most people in the United States live near people who look like them.
Right.
That's just from decades and decades and decades of that just being where people fucking live. So it's not necessarily that, they're like, oh, I'm not going over there where the black people are. It's just, this is where my friends are. That's where their friends are. And then she changes that into the American Medical Association. Like, that's a professional thing where if you have a group that's like, hey, we're the blacks here, that's on you. That's a specific choice you made. That's not just because that's where your peers are. That's something you decided to do based on your own race.
Yeah. You scanned the room, looked for the people that looked like you, and created a clique. That's what you did.
And if the idea is that, simply on the basis that this other association exists, that is evidence that there is a problem over in this other association, that doesn't track.
It doesn't. It's nonsense.
But it does. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Well, I was just going to say now, maybe, and I don't know the history of the two organizations, but maybe the actual origins of the alternate organization was spurred on by actual problems in the AMA at the time. But its continued existence, does that mean the AMA or whatever was happening at that time or whoever decided to start it, is that still the case? Or is it just, why do we cut the end off the ham every Thanksgiving? You hear that story?
No.
It's explaining sort of like family traditions and stuff. So there was the story goes like every year the family gets together and they always have ham for whatever reason at like Thanksgiving or Christmas time or whatever. And the family tradition is passed on how to make the ham for the family is that the mother or whoever's cooking in the kitchen would cut off the end of the ham and just throw it away basically, or use it for scraps or something, and then bake the ham and always have the end cut off. And no one could remember why they do that. It was just like, well, my mom did it and her mom did it, and that's just how you make the ham for Christmas. And finally they go back far enough and they find somebody who remember like, oh, well, that's because that one Christmas the ham was too big to fit in our tiny little oven. So something about some silly, and I'm not necessarily, depending on what the circumstances were of this thing, I'm not saying it's silly, but something that was relevant in the past, and then you continue doing something.
Yeah,
not because the
like
reason
tradition.
Yeah, it's more tradition. It's more like a formality than it is actually based on anything that's actionable anymore. Now, I don't know what's going on with this organization versus that organization. So maybe there was at the time some relevant reason why you'd want a separate organization or a separate association for that. But I mean, the question is valid. These things continue to exist. Yeah, they continue to promote separation. They continue to promote division by race. So on one hand, I agree with her. These things existing doesn't help the issue. At the same time, she seems to be promoting the idea that they're good and necessary to promote and fortify racial identity. It just...
Yeah. And the reason that I was saying that it works is because it solidifies the narrative that I've put forth several times that racism won't go away because there are people well invested in making sure that it stays in place. And the one key thing about separating your groups when it comes to people of color or whatever, and to their own specific groups, is you also keep white people in theirs, which makes it very easy for you to continue to perpetuate the fact that white people stick to their own. Like it's because you build that picture everywhere you go. So when black people go somewhere, they all click up and they're like, look at all those whites over there separating us from them. And it's like, but you're doing that. And like, no, it's them. We're not allowed over there. That's why we're all over here. And they can willfully do that at any time. So theoretically, in any company, they can just click up and be like, yeah, we're doing this because they don't want us here. We have to separate ourselves because that's just the way it is here. And people be like, wow, that's fucked up. It's really easy to pull that off. So it works out, especially if you have an invested interest in maintaining racism, which they do. So,
all right. Well,
Alex Joan hat off.
We're at the top of the hour, so we're going to move on, guys. Thank you so much for all the stories. Sorry to get to them all, but it just happens to be the case that oftentimes, we'll get stuck on something and go for it. Anyway, moving on to the wonderful world of YouTube time. I'll go first because I don't have much, but I do have something I want to attempt here to show off. 1 second, I got to pull it up again because Satsu knows what I'm talking about, I think. 1 second, I got to get into a tab where I can display it on the screen here. So I didn't do a whole heck of a lot YouTube-wise today. I started working on a different project. I don't want to talk too much about it. I don't want to make write checks I can't cash kind of thing. But it's a different kind of video. We'll see if I actually finish it. What the heck? No. What? Okay. Sometimes my computer auto completes things and completely throws me off. It's like, no, I didn't want you to do that. All right, 1 second, guys. Technical difficulties. But what I did do was I cooked up a thumbnail that I will not use for an episode of Lords of the Night because it looks terrible. However, I did put some time into it, and so I wanted to at least show it off. It was suggested that I do something Georgia-based for today with the election going on. And somebody said yesterday, hey, how about the Dukes of Hazzard? And so I tried to find a picture of the cast of the Dukes of Hazzard that also had at least the car in view so I could do something with it. There's actually not a lot of really good publicity photos from that time that I could reasonably use because of the grouping or the lack of some identifiable prop like the car. So this is what I won't be using. That is That
I
is
love
the
the
best
sassy part.
yeah, that is the best I could do under the circumstances. So yeah, I tried to get Monkey with the hair, and I tried to take several of our female lord friends and get their faces onto Daisy there, but none of them really worked with the angle and everything. So I just kind of gave up. I got Monkey in there, and I got Satsu in there, and then I struggled with the female for a while. And finally said, hell with it." So yeah, that was my attempt at a Dukes of Hazzard thumbnail. I will not be using it, but you get it. You get to see it exclusively here for the first and probably last time, unless I do another thumbnail montage in the future. But yeah, there you go. Other than that, yeah, I was working on a potential secret project. We'll see if it comes to fruition. I also, like I was telling Monkey, speaking of thumbnails, came up with a much better thumbnail joke for tomorrow's TED Excellence. So barring work complications, and I'll keep you guys informed as things proceed, tomorrow at noon Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern, I'll be doing another episode of TED Excellence. I'll just tell you that tables are involved, I guess.
Times tables.
Something like that, I suppose. I don't know. I only know what the title tells me, but otherwise, that's all that I've got. So, Satsu, what have you been up to?
Well, my plan was to gather the ingredients that I need to make my next dish for my cooking channel, but with my wife being out of commission and the fact that she forbids me from leaving the house, we'll have to see how we're going to work that out, see if she's filling up to go into the store and getting the stuff that I need. Outside of that, just working on my Final Fantasy series and planning out future content for my cooking channel, because we got about 5 more days until the HelloFresh stuff starts to roll in, so I got to prep for that and get that stuff going. So got a couple things that I'm working on and just kind of waiting for some pieces to start moving.
All right, Monkey, I know you were up to something before something else happened, so what have you been up to today?
Oh, dear Lord. Let's see. Since we last spoke, I was on Satsu's stream over there on 2 Cents Plus. Make sure you guys are watching that. Awesome. And then I did a Monkey in the morning, and I was planning on doing another stream after that. But about 3/4 of the way through, I just wasn't feeling well. So I actually went to the hospital instead of finishing that and doing a stream. But when I woke up today, I did a game stream over on Ranting Monkey Games where I'm playing a solo version of 7 Days to Die. And guys, it's not going well. Monkey's in some hard times right now. So if you enjoyed that, I think I'm going to do one of those again right after this and then probably go to bed, where Monkey in the morning will be in the actual morning tomorrow. But as always, keep an eye on Twitter to find out.
Alrighty. Well then, let's move on to the wonderful world of Thucketry. I don't think I have too much, so let me check real quick. Oh yeah, it was something that I should have mentioned but didn't. Tanya Roberts, the actress from Charlie's Angels and A Bond Girl and That 70s Show, who was dead and then not dead, has now actually died. We think. Pretty sure. Lots of outlets are reporting it now and have been for most of the day that she has actually passed away. I think they're probably double checking this one to make sure they don't get it wrong again, but who knows? Yeah, so still sad. I remember her. I didn't watch That 70s Show that much, but I remember her from the Bond movie more than anything else. Because, like I said, View to a Kill was like one of my favorite Bond movies. So yeah. R.I.P., as they say.
Yeah, it didn't sound good yesterday what we were hearing about it.
Right.
She hasn't died, but she's in a basically comatose state and can't.
Yeah, she wasn't doing well, so it might have been premature, but not necessarily. It wasn't baseless. Let's say.
Right.
So NBC News had this brilliant tweet today. A new study suggests transgender women maintain an athletic advantage over their cisgender peers even after a year on hormone therapy.
Yep.
Can you imagine that? A new study suggests that this is the case. Okay. And I said, golly, you don't say. It's almost as if there are inherent biological differences between the sexes or something. Other than that, we talked about that. I guess the new push for this Star Wars multimedia project started today, or was at least announced within the last day. The High Republic, and it's got a little animated promo, and it's like, this will be a cross-media event with books and comic books and this, that, and the other thing all over the place. Oh my God, it's the latest and greatest Star Wars thing ever. And if you look at their little minute-and-a-half promo, and then you look back to the whiteboard from the writer's room from last year or whatever, where they listed off all the elements they wanted to have in this new era of Star Wars. Yep, diversity and dinosaurs. They're in there.
What?
So the High Republic takes place a couple of centuries before the movies take place, not thousands of years. And it looks so shiny and positive and stuff and things. But anyway, I recommend anybody who wants some good Star Wars storytelling from the ancient times. I highly recommend you find the collections of the Tales of the Jedi comic books from the 90s. Because there's, some of it's goofy, but it's Star Wars, but a lot of it's actually pretty good storytelling and some interesting stuff in there. And was the inspiration for the Knights of the Old Republic video game, so it's a direct continuation basically of the story there. So if you ever played KOTOR and wanted to know where a lot of that stuff came from or what the origins of some of those events were, that's a pretty good collection of comics. I think you can find them still because they sell them as legends or whatever, but I always like them. I still got mine in my collection. And otherwise, I think that's everything that I had. Okay. I'm pretty sure Satsu's going to bring this up because he just tweeted about it. But the Kamala Harris story today, all over the place. I won't ruin it because I'll save that for you. But man, when I saw that, I was like, "Are you shitting?" Well, but here's the thing, and this is a spoiler alert. At least she's like her boss in taking someone else's stuff and passing it off as her own.
And no shit.
But I'm done now. Satsu, what do you got?
Well, since you've brought it up.
I know. I kind of forced your hand on that one.
I want you guys to remember, too, that we are moving into an era now where we can have truth and honesty back into the White House, guys.
Yeah.
Because it's been gone for a while, and we're going to get some of that integrity back. So if you guys hadn't heard about it, Kamala did what magazine was it again? Do you guys remember?
Was it was it Rolling Stone or something?
It was basically a talk in some type of magazine. I can't remember which one it was, but it says in her ranging review or interview in the magazine, Harris, the child of immigrants from India and Jamaica, remembered the first civil rights march she attended in a stroller from which she fell. That part kind of confused me.
Yeah.
I'm like, she fell out of the stroller? That's a weird little addition to this story. But anyway, it says, getting separated from her family. That's what happened. Quote, my mother tells the story about how I'm fussing. Harris told Ashley C. Ford from Ellie Magazine. And she's like, baby, what do you want? What do you need? And I just look at her and said, freedom.
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 And what's really weird about that is like your neglectful mother somehow was pushing you in a stroller, allowed you to fall out, and then asked you, what do you need? And you said, freedom? From her bad parenting? Like, what? I don't even understand the context. Now, the reason that this is interesting is because I believe there was a similar story told by one Martin Luther King. And it says, I will never forget the moment in Birmingham when a white policeman accosted a little Negro girl, 7 or 8 years old, who was walking in a demonstration with her mother. Quote, what do you want? The policeman asked her gruffly, and the little girl looked him straight in the eye and said, freedom. She couldn't even pronounce it, but she knew it was beautiful. Many times I have been in sorely trying situations. The memory of that little one has come to my mind. And I'm just like, those are awfully similar. The only difference is one of those parents didn't drop their kid out of the fucking crib and then try to figure out what was wrong with them.
What wasn't
out of the stroller?
Did I miss part of the story where like she fell out of the stroller and they kept going without her or something?
Yes, she
got separated from her parents.
Yeah,
it depends on which story you listen to, because she told a similar story to this a while ago, apparently.
Oh, yeah.
And that one, her parents left her like a block behind before they ever noticed she was gone.
Okay.
Yeah, that part was particularly interesting because I'm like, wait a minute, you fell out of the stroller and you got separated. It don't even make sense. Oh, geez. Well, I saw this and immediately was like, wow. I mean, I guess she was just like, nobody's going to know that there's this other version of the story, right? I don't know. I don't know what possessed her to. And you know what? There's the cautious side of me that half of 1% that's like, maybe it's a coincidence.
Yeah, exactly. It's not impossible that it's the same. That's not the same story, but
I'm just like, no. Yeah, I'm sorry.
No, it's too.
I just
can't.
Bitch. I can't accept that it is. Regardless of how small that possibility could be, I'm just going to go with it's bullshit because it sounds exactly like something. Some Democrat who's trying to really push and emphasize exactly how much like you they are by telling a story that somebody told them before to try to relate to you because they think that you're too ignorant and stupid to know the history of your own people.
Of all the people to fucking steal from. King? Yeah. Really?
Exactly. Anecdote that never happened would be on the bingo card for that one.
That shit blew my mind. I'm just like, oof. Oof.
Nobody's ever heard of this guy before. I'll just take his story.
I didn't even. It was so funny because when I saw it, Shu shared it, and she like, get the fuck out of here.
Okay, here's the other possibility. Okay, I will at least allow for this possibility, even though it's likely bullshit as well. But let's just explore it just for the sake of completion. She says this is the story her parents tell her.
Uh-huh.
So maybe
her parents are full of shit.
Her parents are the plagiarists.
Yeah, just like Elizabeth Warren's parents told her she was an Indian. No, I'm not buying
it. Yeah. So maybe Kamala is the victim of either an outright lie or some kind of misapprehension. So maybe Kamala is innocent.
In fairness, if her parents were leaving her a block behind, I guess that is believable.
Yeah.
Oh man, that one got me today.
Yeah.
And then there was a post by AOC that simply displayed some smiley faces. And in this post, it says, Pelosi announces additional committee assignments for the 117th Congress. It says Oversight and Reform Committee, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Katie Porter, Rashida Tlaib, and Cori Bush. And I'm just like, is this why she wouldn't dare to speak out against her when it came to this $2,000 thing? Like, was this why she was keeping her mouth shut?
Yes.
Real quick, thank you, Frosted Glass. Then I organized a bus boycott and fought ninjas. As a baby.
I'm just like, huh. That's interesting. Now, some people were pointing out in the chat, they're like, or in the comments, like she would have gotten this, like they would have gotten these positions regardless. Like it wouldn't have mattered if they voted for her or not. So they should have stood their ground and fought for what they believed in. I don't know if that's true or not because I don't know enough about politics.
That's not true. Nancy gets to make up the political assignments.
Okay, and I was like, how if she assigned them? So I don't know, but anyway,
what those people are probably thinking about is that, generally speaking, it's done on a seniority basis, and now that they've been there for more than one term, that moves them up in seniority, but that don't necessarily mean nothing.
Gotcha. Yeah, I just saw that, and I'm like, huh. And I like the fact that she was like, I'm not even going to say anything about it. We just going to put some smiley faces and move on. And we just going to leave it at that. But like we talked about before, like, she knows to fall in line.
Yep.
You know? And whether we like it or not, or we can criticize it and all that stuff, but it's politics, man. So it is what it is. But I just found that particularly interesting. And I believe that's it for my fucketry. That's all the major stuff I saw.
All right, Monkey, what do you got?
Kanye West and Kim Kardashian are getting divorced, Joe.
Oh no!
Yeah, apparently she can't take his bullshit no more. She's done. She's done.
That's actually kind of shocking, considering the fact that she seemed to be backing him in most of the stuff he was doing and saying.
Yep.
But maybe she was just being a good wife, I guess.
I didn't realize how old that bitch was. You know, she's as old as I am.
Yeah.
I didn't know she was in her mid 40s. She's actually, I believe, 2 years younger, 3 years, something like that. That's all right. She got lots of money. She'll find a new boy toy. There was a video going around today of a woman who shows up at a house to deliver some food. Did you guys see that one? She shows up and she's mad. She's mad as a motherfucker because she picked this food up. She says it took her 40 minutes. But if you look at the actual distance she had to drive, it's only like 12 to 15 miles. So I don't know how slow she was driving. But she starts bitching at this guy because he did not give her a bigger tip. He gave her $8. And because he wouldn't give her more, she took the motherfucker's food back.
That's a good way to lose your job.
Yeah.
And catch a charge, man, because if you already know what your tip is, that's already been paid.
Yeah.
That's his shit. But oh boy, was she entitled. So very entitled. What else we got here? Don't care about those two. John McHorter, who is a linguist. Where the hell is he a linguist at? I teach linguistics and other things at Columbia. We've talked about this idiot before. He said this: "Amen and a woman is a long-lived Southern black preacher signature." Representative Cleaver meant it as a kind of witticism. He doesn't think amen actually has the word men in it. He wasn't being hyper anything.
Real quick, thank you, Bacalo. Scum suckers of my industry. Or scum smuckers. Scum suckers of my industry. Okay, thank you, Bacalo.
I reached out to this guy and told him he needs to get a hold of Representative Cleaver because Representative Cleaver has actually said what he meant. And he specifically did it because of how many women are in Congress and how many women are holding different positions within the House, you know, like the clerk and all that kind of shit. He was doing it to give a shout out to women. He wasn't doing it for any kind of Southern black preacher signature, which, by the way, never heard in my life.
Me neither. That's some straight up bullshit. He just pulled out of his Southern ass.
Yeah, he did. That's this one was kind of cool. There's these white chicks that are selling mahjong boards and pieces. And this person wrote this: "I can't believe I'm watching the gentrification of mahjong."
The what?
Wait, what?
The
Hold on.
gentrification of mahjong.
What did you say was happening again? Because you got extra low.
Oh,
When
I'm
you
sorry.
said,
There were some white girls who made mahjong boards.
oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Apparently, mahjong is a place that people lived, and white people have moved in and pushed them out. I thought it was a game.
Yeah.
So I might be confused on that, but yeah, I think that'll do it for my humpetry.
Oh my God. See, that type of shit pisses me off. Just because if you were to tell somebody, of Asian descent that was going on, they would be very excited about it for the most part. Like,
Yeah,
especially somebody from there, they'd be like, really? That's cool. So it's going to be spreading, and a lot of people are going to be able to experience this thing that they probably wouldn't be. That's awesome. And then some white person would step in and fucking choke slam and be like, shut up, bitch. You don't know what you're talking about. It's wrong. You shouldn't want your culture spreading and people sharing it. They're stealing it from you. It's like, but I have mahjong still at my house. It's still a thing that I can use. You don't know anything, ignorant Asian person. I'll save you from this situation. Oh, jeez. Anyway.
Alrighty. Well, then we're at the bottom of the hour, so chat, it's your time. If you have questions, comments, complaints, concerns, conspiracy theories, if you have any New Year's resolutions you've already broken, go ahead and tell us now. Checking the live blog of the election. Let's see. DeKalb County currently has the largest outstanding vote. Chatham County expects majority of votes will be tallied by 11 p.m. Eastern, which is half an hour from now, thereabouts. Let's see. Nope, it's all just kind of waiting. But let's see. As of 43 minutes ago, the race between Purdue and Ossoff, Purdue's taken the lead, and Loeffler as well has taken the lead as of the last count. 67% of estimates in. Purdue is up by about 20,000 votes, and Loeffler is up by about 6,000 votes. So it's really tight right now. Could go either way, but we'll see. Since the big counties haven't reported yet, that'll probably be the deciding factor. So we'll check back in a few minutes, see if something else has happened. But on to the questions. Your boy Pat, have you all seen the video from Ashley St. Clair of the Crazy Train Lady?
It did indeed.
I saw that it existed. I haven't actually watched it yet. What happens on that one?
It's this bitch on a train who starts losing her shit because there's people there without masks on.
Oh, right.
There's people there drinking coffee.
Oh.
She throws a big ass fit and tries to get the conductor involved, and the conductor's like, "Do you want me to call the police? I'll call him and we'll resolve it that way." And the bitch is like, "No." And then she apparently found out who this woman, as she's bitching at these people drinking their coffee, she actually says this: "I have 70,000 followers." True story. And she's written for HuffPost, it turns out. But while she's still on the train, she found Ashley somehow. I'm not sure how. And comes back to her like, "Oh, you're that racist Nazi bitch." Just made it bigger. And you doxed me. So you're like, "I didn't dox you. I showed a video of you being an idiot on a train." I saw it all.
Let's see. Starlock Joe, why the fuck did Satsu not give Squeetus the uppies she was looking for earlier? Yeah, Satsu, why don't you give her uppies? She was raising her arms up. She wanted to be held.
Because she was going to repeat the pattern that we had already repeated about 7 times, and that's climb up into my lap and then immediately climb down.
That's called entertainment.
And I'm just like, no, not again, demon child.
Check your logic. Are you watching the final episodes of Jeopardy this week? I don't plan on it. I haven't watched Jeopardy in years. So, I mean, I'm sure there'll be some video of like his last sign off or something, and I'll probably watch that when it comes out. But Dr. Keeve, what would be an accurate tagline for each month? Each month?
Of this year or any year?
I mean, the tagline for March is always like "in like a lion, out like a lamb." I'm sure that there are phrases for others. I don't know them all, but I don't know. I don't have time to come up with 12 different taglines. That sounds like an ad that I used to do. Let's see. And then chat jumped. Travis Gardner, have you ever heard of the Walk of Life project, Scribe Light? No, can't say that I have. Data Wasteland, is Chinese checkers cultural appropriation, and who is doing what? Yes, and I don't know. Sure, why not? Roger Reynolds, Lords, what time do you time? I think you mean what time do they think? What time do you think they will stop counting for the night? Probably midnight.
No idea.
For those counties that are saying that they're not going to finish counting until Thursday or Friday or something, I'd assume around midnight, but who knows? Midnight Eastern time. Let's see. Evolved Potato Scribe, I found that place called Drive-Thru RPG is the only place that will ship to Australia and has all the books I want for Vampire the Masquerade. Do you know if it's a good site or not? Drive-Thru RPG is a site I've had an account on for years, and they're very good and reliable. I mean, if you just want PDF copies of things, if you're fine with that, they've got all that in spades. If you want print on demand copies, just double check that they offer that, and then also check the shipping costs and all that stuff for international. I don't know what their record is on international shipping. I'm assuming it's okay, but I've never obviously had to deal with that. So check a couple reviews on that first. If you're fine with PDF copies, like I say, you're set. I know they were doing, I don't know if they're still doing it now, of course, but they often have bundle sales of things, and Vampire the Masquerade bundle sales are relatively frequent. So if they're not having one now or you can't find a deal on it, if you wait a while and keep an eye, you might be able to get a whole bunch of stuff for a lot cheaper otherwise. So, but yeah, and anything from the 3rd edition, even some of the old 2nd ed stuff, like Ghoul's Fatal Addiction is really the only Ghoul book you need, even though the rules are outdated. All the information is there for all the flavor and everything. But yeah, V20, 3rd ed, those are the ones I'd recommend. But yeah, no, it's a good site. I've got plenty of stuff on there. Let's see. Ginger Power. My eldest daughter and I were the only white parishioners in a church in Beaufort, South Carolina for 2 years. I can promise you a woman was never said.
A woman. I've never even heard that before.
I grew up Southern Baptist. I never heard no such thing. That's fucking bullshit.
I don't even go to church. And I'm just like, I'm pretty sure I would have heard that somewhere at some time in my life. Never. It sounded so awkward when he said it too. Chicago Mike, I haven't had a cigar since last year. Yes, it's only because it's cold outside and not a New Year's resolution. Then why bring it up? Thanks for wasting my time, Mike. Ginger Snap, and then chat jumped again because thank you, Poker Pierce. I got the finance position. Yay! Best day of my life. Couldn't be more blessed. Thank you, Lords, for the best wishes. Thank you,
Good
Poker
shit, man.
Congratulations.
Cool.
Congratulations.
I am proud of you.
Yes.
Glad to hear it.
Glad you got it, and glad you're situated now, given the economy and everything else. That's excellent news all around. Congratulations. Thank you so much for your generosity too. I appreciate that. Chat jumped again, guys. Sorry if I missed your question. Just repost it. There's a lot of stuff going on here. Understatement. Ranting Monkey, are you still undergoing tests, or is this a get your fat lazy ass in shape and sleep problem?
They want me to do a stress test on my heart. But they want me to be admitted for that. And last night they wanted to admit me, but the only place that they could was down in Grand Rapids, which was a long drive for me. And with the way my head was, they're like,
yeah,
not unless you guys are driving. So I got to get with my doctor, get that scheduled, and then from there we'll see what happens.
My heart, ambulance, the most expensive ride you can get.
No shit, yeah. My heart, everything they tested on it is doing really well. It's very strong. There's no sign of an actual heart attack, but they're worried about the blood pressure. So,
Tack Alpaca, Hershey Bar, Nestle Crunch Bar, or Heath Bar?
Heath Bar.
Oh, what were the
Hershey, Nestle Crunch, or Heath? Out of those three, I'd probably go for the Nestle Crunch. Honestly, I kind of like Nestle Crunch.
I fucks with Heath Bars. Them things are good.
I love a good Heath bar, but I'm also sometimes I just like a good, just regular Hershey bar.
Okay. Bad con reviews. I bought some print stuff from Drive-Thru RPG. I've never had a problem. Yeah, I have too. I've never had a problem with the print. I'm just talking about international mailing. I'm just not quite sure what their record is on that. Is all. Mr. No, Scribe Light, what's your favorite MacGyver episode? Oh God. I mean, I like just about everything that Jack Dalton showed up in, the character Jack Dalton. But I think the one that I always think of first is his very first meeting with Murdoch, with the tripwires and the flamethrower and everything. And the first time he goes, MacGyver, you know, that whole thing. And maybe the one where we learned MacGyver's first name. I always thought that was funny. Do you know MacGyver's first name, Monkey?
No.
Yeah, they reveal that in a later season episode where he like investigates his family tree and everything. And there's kind of they go a little bit sci-fi, if I remember correctly, kind of time travels, or maybe he was just having an coma imagination or something. But he goes to get his coat of arms, and they finally reveal what his first name is. Moto Winter, oh Lord, sushi, shurikens, donut darts, or tortilla tomahawks. Those all sound completely, well, the sushi shurikens don't sound culturally appropriative. I'll probably take the donut darts.
Yeah.
Because tortillas can go either way depending on how they're made, and sushi is kind of could go either way kind of thing. So donuts are pretty safe territory.
Yeah, you said donuts, so
yeah.
I'm in.
Mr. No says, Satsu 2 cents, any plans to sell merch? Oh, Satsu's got no merch, do you, Satsu?
I do have merch.
Oh, you do? What? No. Do you?
Yes, I do.
You should put the link to that in the
Let me
chat.
share the link for you.
Let's see. Peter, Silak, Hades, 313. Do you have a pool, Monkey?
No.
Since you need to exercise, I've heard swimming is a great way to do it with minimal impact on your body. Can you imagine having a pool in Michigan? I think you'd probably get about 3 days out of the year where you could use that.
We used to go to a place that's quite far off, like a 20-minute drive, so I could. But it's just a pain in the ass, especially in the wintertime. Be like, yeah, let's drive way over there for an hour of swimming. So,
Mashisu, Lords of the Night, regular, curly, chili cheese, or waffle fries? Did we have this question the other night? I kind of like just curly fries or regular.
I think we had like 3 of those 4 options, but yeah, I'm still with chili cheese on those.
Same here.
Why didn't you ask about Baconator? Those are better.
I'm a traditionalist, I guess. Frosted Glass, trying to flesh out an idea for a short horror film. Any suggestions? What scares you? What scares me? Sudden loss of my independence.
Pregnancy test.
Embarrassment.
I mean, the greatest fear is the fear of the unknown. So, earlier this summer when I was having some weird stomach pains and I had no idea what it was, and my imagination started running wild what it could be, and then I went to the hospital and they scanned me and there was absolutely nothing noticeably wrong, and I was just like, well, at least that's good to know, but still don't know why the hell I'm having stomach problems. So, yeah, I don't know.
God damn it. Oh, my God. Every fucking site I use now has changed their website. Like, every time I go to it, it's a completely fucking different site.
Oh.
In Teespring, I go here and I click the link that I always click to get here, and they're like, here's the new thing. And I'm like, God damn it.
Vault Potato, I went with V20, better language for me that I've seen, and it seems like they have less and more centralized books. Yeah, they consolidated a bunch of stuff for V20. Aside from the core book, I would still recommend all the third ed era stuff for all the flavor and lore. There's a lot of stuff contained in the V20 core book. I can't endorse anything published beyond that for the extra stuff. But if you can find copies of the third edition clan books, those are the best things ever. If you can find copies of the second edition ones, there's still some good stuff in there they left out and plenty of material for you. I can endorse anything from V20 and Third Ed back. Everything else is a little hinky because I don't know who was publishing or what their philosophy was, because everything after that is kind of, anyway. Let's see. Brenda, DVC, Satsu 2 cents. How do I get someone that is stubborn to start playing Final Fantasy 14?
Fuck. I don't know, man. I can't even recommend getting them to do it because they're just going to abandon you and play it by themselves. They got to get you to. They got to get you to. You got to get them to play it. They're going to get all excited, and then they're going to find somebody else to play it with. That's what's going to happen. It happens to me every single time.
Little Fruit Zero. I saw a Photoshop of Kathy Griffin holding Biden's severed head on Twitter. Are people going to be destroyed for attacking Biden similarly compared to people attacking Trump? Probably more so, I would imagine. Because Biden is he who shall not be criticized at this point. So
he's a paragon of peace and justice, damn it.
Yep, he is unimpeachable. Pyrus Creed, was Harris marching for freedom for the people her family enslaved or the freedom to re-enslave them? Ooh.
Ouch.
Ooh, that's a deep cut. Will it forge that a woman was made up out of whole cloth? Amen is literally Hebrew for so be it, one of the least gendered words in all of history. Yeah, well, if you don't know what the words mean that you're saying, you can make things up. And Adel Geek says Amen is Greek for it's true. Well, it's true, so be it. Similar enough. Original Shroom, Ranting Monkey, what was that you were saying about the Browns last week? Question mark.
About them being shit?
The Browns are shit.
Dude, look, my sister called me and was like, you see the Browns? They made it to the... I'm like, yeah, they're just doing what they usually do and priming you for disappointment. Like, they're like, see, we are kind of good. And they're like, no, just kidding.
Just because they snuck in with the Steelers choking at the last minute in that game doesn't mean they're all that.
Deco, did you guys talk about the Antifa incident at the senator's house? No, we didn't. Some Antifa guys went to Josh Hawley's house and started protesting or something outside the house and making, I don't know, threats or something while the wife was inside alone.
She not alone. She was in there with her infant child.
Oh, well, yeah, their infant child, yeah.
And they actually, like 4 of them up on her doorstep, beating on her door and yelling into her. And they're out there outside with a bullhorn yelling in. Fucking assholes.
Hey, it's good to know the good guys are always out there doing the good guy work.
That's right.
Did the cops show up at all? I didn't hear that part.
Not in the video that I saw. I mean, there's like a 1.5 minute video out there about it, but I don't know. I honestly don't know what happened there.
Nuke the CCP. Scribe, have you seen my recent comments in your November 10th show? It's about a comment I made in the chat that is likely to be revealed tomorrow. Was that the one where you just put in the timestamp? Because usually when I see those, I think it's a bot. They're usually bots. So if you did, I didn't. I don't think I deleted it, but I usually ignore things that have no message and just a timestamp because that's usually some kind of weird bot in there. So it just a note, if anybody puts a comment there, at least put something in there that tells me, I mean, if I know who you are, it's a different thing, but if you don't usually comment, if I see nothing but a timestamp, I don't even know what to do with that. It's like, okay.
Yeah, even then, if you're putting a timestamp there, leave a little, because this happens on my videos too. Just let me know what we're looking at.
Yeah.
I end up having to go in there and go, what the fuck? What?
Yeah. I need some context. It's like, am I listening for something that just started then? But again, like I say, I see those things where like those little what are they? The avatars are like scantily clad Asian girls, and it just it's like love your show, and then there's a timestamp or something, or then a link to somewhere, and I just sort of completely phase those out of my brain. So,
I report the shit out of those.
I usually report them or just delete them because I figure I've reported them so many times and they keep coming. It's like it's kind of pointless.
They seem to have slowed down recently.
I don't get them as often now, but I still do.
Evil Dog Cat Fox. Why won't you let me inside of the moon base, Scribe? Because you're not Dog Cat Fox. You can just suffocate. I don't let evil Dog Cat Foxes in here. You're the one doing all the bad things. Backscan. If Biden tries to take people's AR-15s, what do you think will happen? Well, he won't. And if he did, there'd be massive protests. So, I mean, there'll be rhetoric. They'll say, oh, we have to ban assault weapons. Nothing will happen. And gun sales will go up because their guns are going to be taken away, and the gun dealers will make a bunch of money.
I think you might see a push for it. I think you're certainly going to see an assault weapons ban come through. But last time they had it, I mean, you were grandfathered in if you already had the weapon. Right. But you've seen people like, I don't know what else going on with Beto in the Biden administration, but he is the one. Hell yes, we're coming for your guns.
That's right.
I could see them trying a push like that, and what will happen, I don't know, and the thoughts are horrible.
Chicago Mike, Ranting Monkey, do you have a blood pressure testing equipment at home?
Nope.
No.
But I am going to the store tomorrow, so I'm going to look and see if I can get one.
Yeah, get one of the little like wristband deals that it inflates and tests you. I have one of those around here myself. And then chat jumped again because of course it did. Motto Winter, oh lords, would you try some chicken fried pork, a portion of sliced cinnamon apples, a large monkey mug of peaches and cream soda? I guess. I mean, none of it sounds terrible. I'm not a big fan of peaches and cream soda, but I wouldn't throw it away, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, I would try that. I mean, why not?
Satsu?
Sure, why not? Don't sound too bad.
Your boy Pat, same shit they pulled with Tucker Carlson. These people are horrible. Yeah, the Antifa, going to people's homes and stuff.
He's probably gonna get shot, man.
Yeah, don't go to people. It doesn't matter which side of the aisle they're on. Don't go to people's homes and start fucking shit up. Like the people that went to Pelosi and Mitch McConnell's houses and spray paint on their doors and stuff. Don't do that. Don't. Stop. It's not going to accomplish anything. Like Monkey said, yeah, you're liable to get shot first for anything else.
But if that lady would have shot them yesterday, I'd have been like, I can see it.
Yeah. Ebony Williams, Scribe, ever thought about writing a book of short stories? Sure, I've thought about it.
Do it.
And that's the problem. He keep thinking about it.
Yeah, that's true. And then chat jumped again. Froggy, Scribelight, whenever I leave a timestamp, it's for personal future reference of something I want to look at again or show someone. Okay. Well, like I say, if that's what you're doing, great. If it's somebody that I know, I'm not inclined to delete the comment necessarily. But if it's somebody I don't know or that's all there is, I'm not necessarily going to pay attention to it unless I have some reason otherwise too. So if you do want to leave a timestamp, if you do want me to comment on something or you're trying to bring my attention to something, just leave a note that says, hey, Scribe, take a look at this or something, just some kind of context so I know, because that's I have no way of knowing what that's about.
Yeah, just leave that for future reference and just leave that.
Yeah, for my personal future reference, whatever. And that's like, okay. I mean, I'm not inclined to delete comments most of the time anyway, unless I know they're obviously a bot or there's something that's cluttering things up. And so if your avatar isn't some Asian girl or something, and it doesn't say this like, I love you or awesome or something like that. It's like, okay. Let's see. Backscan. Satsu, I meant to ask, have you looked for dental colleges in your area that could possibly help with Squishy's wisdom teeth?
Dental colleges?
Oh, yeah. That's a good way to go. Yeah, they're cheaper. Yeah. It's people who are learning.
Yeah, so basically she'd be a test subject for somebody in training.
Oh. No, I haven't. I didn't even consider that, so.
Yeah, give that a shot.
Yeah.
Peter Silek, Case 3 what's the weirdest Americanized food you've ever eaten? I'd have to go somewhere else and try something Americanized, I guess, because everything.
Taco Bell.
That kind of Americanized. Panda Express.
Oh yeah, I can see that.
Oh God. Yeah, that was I worked at a mall for a time, and one time I was desperate and I had a short time for lunch for some reason, and so I went to the Panda Express. It was the last time I ever went.
Dude, Panda Express is like the white people version of Asian food.
Oh, it was so bad. So bad. I mean, I went to places where before then and after then, I would only go to places where the people making the food are native to whatever the thing is. So like there's this Vietnamese restaurant I went to where, I mean, the people were from Vietnam. They knew what they were doing. Like they brought their family over and it was great. But yeah, the fake stuff or the try to, whatever. And that's not to say I hate, a Taco Bell thing once in a blue moon or something. But generally speaking, if I'm going to have food that's supposedly coming from one part of the world or whatever, I prefer to have it made by somebody who actually knows what they're doing.
I'm going to say that weird vegetarian pizza that was popping up on Twitter.
Oh, yeah.
Had like avocado and shit on it, and there's like no cheese. And yeah.
Yeah, don't do that. Let's see. Mashisu, Scribe, it's racist against pictures of Asian girl avatars. No, it's just that people using Asian girl avatars for bots are just flooding the market.
Yeah, by the way, those are Nigerian men.
Probably. Massive Dynamics. Burst pipe in Georgia win.
Yeah.
Froggy, Scribe, someday I want to make a compilation series of the best Lords of the Night moments.
Good luck.
Best of luck.
Quite an undertaking.
Yeah. First off, deciding what constitutes our best. Secondly, collecting all the footage necessary to constitute that. And third, having to go through 3 different channels to do so. I mean, yeah, like I say, best of luck. If you're putting bookmarks out there for the things you think are worth remembering, more power to you. And I'll be if you end up doing that compilation, I'll be very thankful. So, let's see, we got a couple minutes here. Deco, Panda Express is good enough Asian/American food, not horrible but not great. I admittedly, I've only been there once. Maybe I went on a bad day, but it all basically tasted like reheated goop to me. So I was just like, no.
Yeah, comparatively speaking to most Chinese restaurants or Asian food restaurants or whatever, Panda Express is definitely the worst I've ever had.
Yeah, I was not impressed.
I was just like, ew.
Yeah, there was when I was in college, there was a couple of restaurants downtown that were run by native-born people from Japan in one instance and Mexico in the other. And they brought their recipes and their cooking styles with them. And I was never dissatisfied. And it's a part of the reason why I never went to Taco Bell while I was in college, because it was like, why would I want to go there? I can get the real thing there. And yeah, so I just got a respect for that. I went to an Ethiopian place one time that was really good. That was really good. Anyway. Sean DW175, best Lords of the Night stuff, everything but Scribe. Probably true.
Damn, that's hurtful, man.
I mean, Sean has not been shy about his pure, concentrated hatred for Scribe. So
how's that hurtful to you?
What? No, I didn't say it was hurtful to me. I was just saying it was hurtful.
Oh, well, somehow I'll survive. I mean,
Scribe, our bond makes anything painful that happens to you hurtful to me.
Well, I mean, Sean DW175 is the worst part of our chat, so I don't know. It's like being damned by the devil is perhaps the greatest blessing. So I'm not too hurt by that. Let's see. Froggy says already been collecting the footage. Man, okay. Well, now I'm looking forward to this. Whenever you decide you have enough material for the
hell yeah, man. Yeah,
I mean, the most I can offer as far as like anything that I ever collected was out of the promos in my promos playlist for the ads for SDA, Monkey, and myself, with the meatloaf incident, Monkey's nipple twisting, and then, of course, cereal is soup drives Scribe insane. That's what I have archived, in an edited fashion. So. But with that, guys, by the time I finish, this will be at the top of the hour, and that's the end of the show. Checking the election real quick. No updates in the last 2 minutes. So last 2 minutes. So what we have right now, as of right now, the race between Loeffler and Warnock. Loeffler is ahead by 80,000 votes.
Oof.
Nothing right now about the last one on.
Yeah,
it's going to be the absentee ballots and everything else like last time. Thank you, Chicago Mike. Best of the Lords of the Night is Cereal Soup and Harry Enton. Oh yes, the worst article I ever read. Yeah.
What about the Star Wars one?
Oh yeah, Black Star Wars. That was a good one too. Yeah.
The best black or the top 10 black characters in Star Wars was epic.
That was good. Oh, also the rap thesis.
Oh yeah, that was another good one.
Yeah, rap thesis was a good one. But
to the election real quick, DeKalb County is only 42% counted, and that one's expected to go heavy Democrat. So
right.
Ugh.
Yeah, and was it which one was it that wasn't going to finish until Gwinnett County's not going to finish till Thursday, and Fulton said they'd be done by the top of the hour. Anyway, guys, keep an eye on CNN or any place else. They'll have them out in the next few minutes probably. But with that, everyone, thank you everyone for joining us tonight. You guys really are the best audience in the world. Moderators, thank you for keeping an eye on things. Even though our chat is so well behaved, you have very little to do. Everyone who donated, thank you so much for your generosity. I really do appreciate it. Congratulations again to Poker Pierce for getting the job. Yay! Satsu and Monkey, are you guys doing anything after this?
I'm going to be back over on my game channel playing 7 Days to Die.
And I'm going to be editing.
All right, well, they'll be doing that. I myself will be going to bed because I got to be up at 4 a.m. But per usual, remember, we'll be on Monkey's channel tomorrow night at the regular time, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern, for another episode of Lords of the Night. And myself, you can find me tomorrow, timing permitting, at noon Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern, for another episode of TED Excellence, where we'll be dealing with seating arrangements around furniture. That's the best I can do without giving it away, which isn't really that big of a deal. But either way, with that, everyone, thank you for joining us. Monkey, Satsu, thank you for joining me as always.
Yep, indeed.
Everyone, your lives make us sad, and we will see you tomorrow.
Fuck off.
Bye, everybody.
And per usual, taking out my copy of Screw the Roses, Send Me the Thorns, the romance and sexual sorcery of sadomasochism. Today's secret word is...
Stroke.
Arthur.
Huh?
Or maybe she wants to be my captive princess, the daughter of a king at war with Arthur.
Oh.
Oh, they're talking about fantasies.
Yeah, because the audio was distorted, it sounded like you said birther.
Wow.
I'm like, what?